Hello. Today we're going to go over college application essay workshops. We're going to go over some tips and tricks of things to get you started, as well as things of what not to do. And specifically, we're going to go over the University of Arizona 2 optional essay prompts and how to answer them as well as we can. So let's get started. The first thing is what I've noticed is that when we are writing college application essays, that you don't need to have achieved or experienced the extraordinary to be an extraordinary person, right? Students get so caught up in comparing themselves to other people who have done cured cancer or created $1 billion company on their own or those types of things, right? That's not the case. So everyone is extraordinary in their own right, and so if we can kind of get over that notion, that stigma, then it makes it a lot easier to get started on our college application essays. The other thing is, we what you do isn't who you are. Who you are is why you do what you do. A lot of students will just regurgitate a list of all the things, all their extracurricular activities and that kind of thing, as opposed to sharing why they do those things, why it's important that they do all those things, and reflect on how that those things have turned them into the person that they are now, or the person that they continue to strive to be, and that kind of thing. And so that reflection part, that sharing the why behind doing what you do, is the most important part of these college application essays, because colleges want to hear and want to know what's your superpower, what makes you unique. In a sea of 4.0 students, right? How do they tell students apart? And it's the students that are able to reflect on their lived experiences, their different activities, their just life situations, and being able to take those things and reflect and see how they are just doing, or how they are improving and developing and growing because of those things, is what will help you stand out. The biggest thing that I see with our students in general is that they get so overwhelmed about what they write that they refuse to even get started, and then they procrastinate all the way until the deadline, and then they don't have a really great way to share and reflect on the things that they have done, or what they've accomplished, or how they've grown in life. And so the earlier that you can get started, the better. So right now, with an upcoming U of A early action deadline, we're going to go over the two optional essay prompts from the University of Arizona. They say they're optional, but we might as well think of them as being required, because as University of Arizona has gone to this more holistic review of their college applications, they're going to take this information into account. And so I've created this worksheet for students to use, which I'll share a link in the comments. Why is the University of Arizona the right fit for you, and how will your chosen academic area of study align with your interests, goals, and values? Right. And so we are not just sharing about what makes University of Arizona the best college, because they already know like their statistics and whatever else. They want to know, will you as a student, how will you thrive on their campus? Will you sit in your dorm room all day and doom scroll or play video games? Or will you go out and interact with the community, with the campus, with the resources and everything else? And so as we look at this worksheet, here's a way for us to list some of our goals, some of our interests, some of our values, and then look and find, or do some research and find that there are student clubs, academic or Greek programs, or specific classes or professors, or just college traditions from the U of A, or research projects that professors have done, that we can interact with, that we can engage with. Because the hope is that we are reassuring the admissions readers that that we're going to be successful on their campus, that we are going to thrive. We know exactly how we see ourselves being a contributing part of the student body, student leadership, or whatever it may be. And so we want to be as specific as possible, right? We might not find a specific club for everything. Maybe we need to create a club, but we need to know that what we do find is specific to the University of Arizona. And this is applicable to any why us question that you'll see in college applications. We want to make sure that the things that the opportunities and the resources that we are taking advantage of are only available at that specific college. If we are broad and general, the admission readers will know that you are probably just copy and pasting this essay for a wide variety of schools. If you are just sharing base or briefly or just like helicopter view of, oh, I'm interested in studying engineering or education or biology or pre-med or whatever it is, right? And the university is a great opportunity for me to take advantage of that and for me to um, really develop my interest and my learning so that I can be successful in that, right? That is not that specific. And so that can be attributed to any school across the country. And so we want to find specific things. And so here's an example of how we would fill out this worksheet. We would share your goal is to become a professional photographer. You're interested in photography, sports, and cars. And you value travel, adventure, and kindness, right? And so I used my personal relationships with people who attend or have attended University of Arizona. I've Googled it. I've used artificial AI to find different ways that things can or that I can find these things. And so maybe I search for photography research at the University of Arizona to see what comes up. And then I just double check that, right? I'm fact check that to make sure that those are currently being offered at the U of A, that they're real opportunities that I can take advantage of. And so for my values, I am looking at social innovation organizations. It's a class that I can take, and it's looking for best practices in social innovation in all business types because I want to be a professional photographer. I want to own my own business someday. Excuse me. And so, how do I use can I learn from this class like how to be kind in different ways of structuring my business or operating my business? Um, Maybe as a college tradition, like getting outside and being adventurous is hiking up a mountain to repaint the A for homecoming. It's a tradition that is done every year. It's a way that is specific to the University of Arizona. Here's a way for me to meet new people and to get outside and to hike and that kind of thing. And so that's another way that my values are being furthered through the University of Arizona. For research, there's Dr. Melissa Barnett's impact of parenting on young children, learning about family dynamics, right? And so here's another way of just understanding kindness and understanding a way or just different ways that I can be kind in general. And as a kind person, I can attribute that to how I want to pursue my goal or my interest in photography or sports or cars, that kind of thing. There is a student club called Car Cats. It's a car enthusiast club that teaches about automotive and mechanical skills, maintenance, and that kind of thing. And so that's another way that I will get involved and be interact with a group of like-minded people, and so we can share our love for cars together. There is a opportunity or an academic or a job really program called the Arizona Athletics Creative Services Intern. And so it's where you photograph and video U of A sporting events. And so I would apply to be a part of that team so that I can get access to or unreal access to the field or whatever else, and utilize or grow my photography skills, grow my um, passion for working with people, for being a part of the athletics department, being a part of sports, and that kind of thing. There is a Professor David Taylor, who wrote a book about monuments 276 views of the U.S. Mexico border. And he wrote this photo book. And so maybe I can connect with him to see how I can also write a photography book or create a photography book, and just his experience with that and how that worked for him. And then as a goal, maybe I join the photography club. So there's a photography student club on campus, and I can engage with them and other photographers to bounce ideas off each other, to learn new editing styles or techniques, or different ways to photograph things or people or animals or whatever it may be. And so that's how I'm going to get involved with there to help further my goal of being this professional photographer. And lastly, like, there is the Center for Creative Photography, and there's an Ansel Adams Research Fellowship. And so I can learn from the best about how to become a better photographer. I can learn from the mentors and staff and everyone else at the Center for Creative Photography, and do some research about specific things about photography that will help me learn about becoming a professional photographer, what that's all about, like some of the background, some of the foundation type things. And so I'm going to share at least one or two specific examples from each of these categories: values, interests, and goals, and how they align with my area of academic study, which is photography, to really excel and thrive at the University of Arizona. So it's less of this reflective piece. It's more factual, and and no one's going to hold you accountable. So no one's going to say, "Oh, Chris said that he was going to sign up for the Car Cats, and he never did that in his 4 years at the U of A." So no one's going to be able to do that to you or whatever else. This is just a way for us to show that we are invested in the University of Arizona. We have done our research. We know these are the different ways that we are going to get involved, because the university is looking for students who want to be there, who are interested in retention rates. So they are interested in coming back year after year, so that ultimately they graduate in 4 years. It's proven in the high school level and the college level, like the more active you are, the more involved you are with campus life, with various communities, that you will be more successful academically, because there's more meaning to it. There has more value to it. And so we want to reassure whoever's reading this essay that we have done our research. We know exactly the different ways that we are going to get involved and interact with the community. Maybe it's an on-campus job, or that kind of thing too. So just to think about different ways, find specific things that we can utilize to highlight and show that the University of Arizona is the perfect fit for you, to study photography, engineering, education, arts, dance, pre-med, whatever it may be, right? The second optional essay is there anything else you'd like to share with us that you haven't already included, right? So here's your chance to be that reflective show off your how articulate you are. So this is important, because this is how we share our superpower. What makes us amazing? So there's two ways to think about or answering this prompt, and I'm sure there's more than that, but two ways to kind of think about to help you get going. The first one is to take that worksheet from the previous essay, and think of why I want to be the goal that I've set, why I want to be a photographer, why I want to be an engineer, why I want to be a teacher, why I want to be a doctor, why I want to be a lawyer or a scientist or researcher, or whatever it is that you want to do, right? And tell us why you want to do those things. What has happened in your life that has helped create this fascination, this interest, this drive to become that goal of whatever it is that you want to do. The other thing that you can do is utilize my Rise Brainstorm worksheet. I'll also link that in the comments. This is an opportunity to think about what your superpower is. Maybe you're not aware of it. And so it goes through a bunch of different exercises to help you reflect and help think back through the different life experiences that you've had, and how those have influenced the type of person that you are. Like, what makes you so incredible at being you, right? Because no one else has had the same life as you. And so we want to highlight those things. And so I highly recommend that we are reflective and personal, and we'll share an example of that in a little bit. But before we get there, we want to just make sure that we go over some do this, not that situation. So um, the first thing is like, let's make sure that we have an incredible attention getter or hook that forces the reader, that compels the reader to want to learn more about you. And so what that means is like, so when the reader looks at your essay, they are probably going to spend, a couple minutes at most, maybe even like 30 seconds reading this essay or just skimming this essay. If your first few lines is something that sucks them in, that really captivates them, then you have a much better chance of holding their attention so they want to get to know more of you, right? The other thing that we want to do is reflect on the why you are sharing what you're sharing. So, like we said before, it's all about that reflection. It's all about being able to articulate what has happened in your life and why it's so important for you to share this with someone else. We want to show specific life stories instead of just telling about them. We're not going to write just a press release about our lives. We want to show through specific examples, this is what's happened, or this is why, or this is how I've utilized this superpower to impact others, or whatever thing, very specifically. Maybe it's a dialogue, maybe it's recounting an experience or an exchange, or maybe you were inspired by someone or something. But be specific about it so that if I were to put your essay down in the middle of an assembly or a group of people, they would immediately know that it's my essay and it can't be attributed to anyone else. That's the goal. The other thing, use your genuine voice. If you're funny, be funny. If you're poetic, be poetic. If you're sarcastic, be sarcastic. If you're serious, be serious. Be who you are. Showcase yourself and your personality and your characteristic. Um, no one else has ever had the life that you've had. I've already said that, right? Revise, reread, rewrite. Your first draft won't be the best, right? So this is one of those things that students often get caught up because they don't know what to write, and so they wait till the very end, and then they end up writing their first draft, and they're like, "Oh, it's great." I've worked with so many students. Sorry, I've worked with so many students who, after multiple rewrites of their initial draft, are like, I don't like this. And then so they write something else. They wouldn't have ever gotten to that something else unless they started with that original draft, right? And so keep writing, keep giving yourself time to write, revise, rewrite, and make sure that what you're sharing is a really great reflection of who you are. Now, things not to do, right? Don't use big words or overly complex sentences unless you normally communicate that way. So don't, you know, hit up this or the thesaurus and use every different variation of inspiration or accomplishment or whatever else, right? Like, so use your own tone, use your own voice. Don't write what you think colleges want to hear. Don't dismiss certain ideas because you're like, oh, so many people write about that or whatever else. No one has had your life experiences. And so don't get that out of your mindset that you have to write about certain things or you can't write about certain things to appease whoever's reading this and that kind of thing. Don't also regurgitate a recap of your activities and accomplishments. They will already have seen that in your activity section, so you don't need to reshare those things. What you can do is highlight maybe certain things that need more explanation, that have led to your why, that have led to this reflection piece of how incredible that you are. But they don't need a line by line, like chronological order of these are all the things that I did, right? Because that doesn't really tell me much anything else about you that I don't already know. Don't ignore grammar, punctuation, and spelling. Meaning, make sure that that is right. Make sure, like, it's super easy now in Google Docs, like it'll automatically pop those things up of what is wrong or what's not right. So make sure that those things are right. They're super easy fixes. Have people read it and make sure that it makes sense. It flows correctly. It's not choppy in its tone or in its flow. These are easy things that you can do. The other thing that people do is that they wait to start writing until you have the perfect idea or topic. Um, what I tell students all the time is write about several different things and see what sticks. You never know what that perfect topic is, and you never know it until you start writing. And so you have to start writing to just give yourself a chance. And the last thing is like we get a lot of students who are like, "Oh, I don't have this traumatic story to write about," or students will be like, "Oh, I have this really traumatic story that I have to write about." And so the thing that I will say about that is don't trauma dump unless you've healed from it. So if you've healed from it and you're able to separate yourself from it and reflect on it and grow from it and show all the different ways that it has helped you or that it has inspired you or motivated you to do something new or to change or that kind of thing, then we can share about it. But if we are just trauma dumping to trauma dump, that is a less effective and less reflective essay, right? So some do's and some don'ts. And then here are two examples of how I would hope that you would write, right? And so on the left hand side or on the right hand side, we're going to start with this. I've always been a hardworking student and try my best to do well in my classes. Ever since middle school, I have made it a priority to complete my assignments on time and maintain good grades. I enjoy learning and believe education is important for building a good future. Over the past 4 years, I've taken a variety of courses, and I feel that they have helped me become well-rounded. I have earned a 4.0 GPA, and I feel prepared for the challenges of college academics. Academically, my strongest interests have been in history and Mandarin. I like the way these subjects challenge me to improve my reading comprehension and understand a new language. Although these classes have been difficult at times, I think they have prepared me for the next level of study. I have also done well in math and science, which have improved my problem-solving skills. In addition to academics, I have participated in a few extracurricular activities. I am a member of the Chinese Club and the National Honor Society, where we volunteer in the community. These experiences have shown me the value of giving back to the community and working with others toward a common goal. Outside of school, I play the cello, which has taught me the importance of resiliency and time management. I'm excited about the opportunity to attend college and continue my education. I hope to meet new people, explore new activities, and gain more independence. I am especially interested in studying a history-related field, possibly as a teacher or archivist. Although I am open to discovering other interests along the way. I believe college will give me the chance to grow academically and prepare for a successful career in the future. Okay. So what's wrong with this, right, is that it just lists out all the different things that are in their activity section or honor section or that kind of thing, right? We don't necessarily get to learn very much about this student. We don't get to learn how this student really thinks or how this student processes information or what they want to achieve or how they want to impact the world or that kind of thing, right? And so we just get very little information about the type of person the student is. Versus, I put my head down and started sprinting. My legs felt like they left my body. Then I leapt, stretching my hand as far as possible, like a toddler reaching for a cookie jar. My eyes closed, and when I opened my eyes, I felt the wind of a perfectly thrown frisbee fly just past my sweaty fingertips. Before I had the time to process my frustration, gravity was reactivated, and I abruptly collapsed into the end zone as the game's clock struck 0. We lost. However, I'm always the one who jumps. My friends call me risky business, not from the old Tom Cruise movie, thank goodness, but because I thrive when uncertainty is involved. When I launched the first ever Ultimate Frisbee Club at my school, everyone thought I was a joke, but I had a gut feeling that there was a need for this type of community. What started as me playing catch by myself, it's doable, trust, led to a regular group of 50 students from all grade levels. There was so much interest, we even created a competitive team, the disc jockeys, pun intended, that traveled to play against the best high school ultimate frisbee teams in the country. While the disc jockeys haven't actually won anything notable yet, our bond as teammates and our inane and hilarious adventures created core memories for the rest of our lives. I like to think that my efforts built lifelong relationships with a diverse subsection of students who probably would never have met otherwise met. Why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up, said Batman's dad in Batman Begins. And he's right. The most difficult aspect of jumping is that I fall a lot. Yet I firmly believe in failing to succeed. I am a leader who fearlessly embraces risk for the potentially greater benefit of others. Hopefully I'll catch the next frisbee, but either way, I know I'll jump every time. So what we get here is a more reflective, a more specific essay about how this student thinks, how they go about their life, what type of leader they are, what is their superpower, right? They are someone who leads by jumping, and sometimes by jumping as a risk taker, but that's someone who is responsible for those risks or will be accountable for those risks and that kind of thing because they see those risks are worth it. So we just get a much better sense of who this student is by the way that they have written their essay and how reflective it is and how they use specific examples to show that they are what they're capable of and that kind of thing. And so if both of these students had 4.0s or identical statistics otherwise, so GPA or rigor or whatever else, a college is more likely to pick the one that is more reflective, more interesting, more compelling, right? Because we can picture that student thriving on our college campus better. So college essays are incredibly important. What separates us from other students. It's what separates us from the competition. The more that we can think of these as being creative and compelling and reflective essays, the better chance we have of um, getting accepted to our dream schools, or in terms of the University of Arizona, hopefully maximizing our merit scholarship awards. And so yeah, so that's how we want to approach these essays. These are some tips for you guys. I'm happy to help in any way. Thank you so much for listening, and good luck on your college application essays. Bye for now.